So wow, the Assassin's Creed community right now is in an absolute uproar. Battle lines have been drawn over Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is basically going full-blown live service with its game. It's going to be offering multiple historical settings, but this has been met with quite the controversy from the community. A lot of you guys want this franchise to go back to its roots, storytelling with actual stealth elements in the game. And then a lot of you guys are like, hey, I want more Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Valhalla. This sounds cool, but we do have further clarification from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, who originally broke this story about what to actually expect from Infinity and the future of Assassin's Creed games. Will we be seeing single-player only Assassin's Creed games in the future? Well, I have actually good news about that one. And also, how will multiplayer be playing a role in Infinity, and so much more. So let's dive into this right now. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good. And yes, once again, we are talking about Assassin's Creed Infinity. And my God, the response from you all recently shows just how much of you guys want to see the franchise return to its roots. So I did this video right here, and if we get into the responses about this, Error404 says, just sell the franchise to a company that does good to the storyline, then make your own perfect little live service money cow, and everyone is happy. A lot of you guys concerned about it being live service. GhostShade97 says, I thought they already ruined this. I can't wait to see how much damage they'll do. Happy smiley face. Damien Edwards says they don't care about what the fans want. It's all about greed and money, literally destroying the franchise. So there's a lot of disappointment. I can rarely find a good comment here in my own comments of my video. But if we go beyond that, we can see that there are people that are hopeful for the Assassin's Creed franchise. Now, what do we know officially, and more specifically from Jason Schreier, the guy that broke this news? Now, let's go out on Twitter, shall we? Now, this is the question before Yavin Kenobi says this. So if I'm understanding this correctly, does this mean that in the next few years, the traditional single-player Assassin's Creed experience is just getting phased out? Excellent question. Jason Schreier responded saying, no, not necessarily. It'll just be a part of AC Infinite. Details are still in flux because it's so early in development, but the core idea is that Infinite is an evolving hub for all things AC. And it's definitely an interesting idea. It seems like there was some confusion regarding what Assassin's Creed Infinite exactly will become. And I think that confusion is still going to be happening for quite some time. I think a lot of people are assuming that this is going to be like an MMO experience, an online only experience. That is not going to be the case, it seems. It looks like there's going to be single player games within this. Now, this is what Patrick Bear goes on to say. He says, thanks. People are believing this is an MMO or multiplayer game. Can you do a tweet where you calm people? There's just so much disinformation about this scoop. Everybody thinks it's an MMO or multiplayer game when it's not. And Jason says this, it's important to note that we're at least 3 years away from this thing coming out. Details are still up in the air, but the core idea is that Infinity is a massive online platform containing different settings and games. Don't know if or how multiplayer plays a role. And honestly, it seems like Ubisoft was kind of forced into revealing this a bit earlier than intended just because of this Bloomberg, I guess you would call it like investigation into what Ubisoft has been working on. But it's interesting because Tom Phillips of Eurogamer gave a great comparison as to kind of what to expect from Infinity, and that is the Assassin's Creed Helix right here, which of course comes from Unity. You guys may remember this system. This is kind of what I imagine Assassin's Creed Infinity would actually look like, but imagine these being actual entire games in the Assassin's Creed universe, and you would be able to seamlessly switch between these games, and also every single game would be updated. The big problem right now that Ubisoft is facing is they create an excellent title like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's excellent, whether or not you agree or not with that statement, sound off in the description below, by the way. But anyway, with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they found that a lot of people are still playing this game and purchasing it. In fact, it's still competing with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is absolutely incredible. And when this happens, Ubisoft asks themselves, well, why are we stopping with updates for Assassin's Creed Odyssey? We need to continue updating this game. And apparently Assassin's Creed Infinity will enable them to have one cohesive platform where they can actually update all games simultaneously, and then you'll be able to seamlessly go in and back and forth between those games. So it's definitely interesting, and I'm curious to see if they will do anything to tie into the Netflix series as well. Now we have some more controversial opinions out on Twitter. Let's check out, see what you all are saying now. Nexus says this: why is everyone so upset at online games? If it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. It's not for you. Online and single player games can coexist, guys. It's fine. And you know what? It seems like a lot of you guys also want to see the return of the Assassin's Creed Online component, and perhaps Infinity would actually allow them to do this, where you can seamlessly go from single player and, you know, of course, online. Now, there's also controversy regarding the actual name, Assassin's Creed Infinity. A lot of you guys roll your eyes about that one. We have Bobby Phoenix who says this: Halo Infinite, Assassin's Creed Infinity, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Avengers Infinity War. Oh God, how many infinities and infinites can you get? And we have a response from George: BioShock Infinite. Don't forget about BioShock Infinite in there, of course. I mean, come on now. I'm just gonna wait for another Infinite game to release even after Assassin's Creed Infinity releases. But yeah, you know, the rumor also is that this Assassin's Creed Infinity experience could go free to play as well. And that, of course, is another controversial subject. And that a lot of you guys don't want to be dealing with microtransactions through your entire Assassin's Creed experience. And let me tell you what, I don't blame you at all. So Ubisoft recently said this right here. They said Ubisoft will be prioritizing free-to-play development, but it is not abandoning big budget launches. Far Cry 6, Riders Republic, and even Skull and Bones are still on the calendar, executives say. So, yeah, we are going to be getting, of course, the big AAA experiences, but the leadership at Ubisoft says that's not going to be more a commonplace in the future, that they are going to be working on more free-to-play experiences, and you're going to be seeing that. Even with The Division, they're going free-to-play with one of those games to start to testing the waters out. But again, we're still seeing big titles like, of course, Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar is getting a video game adaptation as well, which is going to be your big AAA experiences outside of the free-to-play experiences. So, but it looks like these companies are really wanting to tap into the free-to-play experience turning into a AAA experience. And it looks like there's a rumor that we could be seeing a Far Cry game also take that on. And the rumor is that game is going to be called Far Cry Frenzy. We'll see what happens with that one. You never know, but I'm thinking that Ubisoft really is going all in on the free-to-play experience in terms of their main core franchises, while offering up, of course, the more paid experiences. We're seeing, you know, games like Call of Duty embrace this, and then also Electronic Arts is going to be bracing this with Battlefield. You're going to most likely see a free-to-play Battlefield announced alongside Battlefield 2042 as well. So yeah, this is becoming the norm. It doesn't mean that I don't think they're going to stop with the core single-player Assassin's Creed games. That's just my opinion. I think those are going to be continuing because they've seen so much immense success with Odyssey, with Valhalla. But their assessment is like, why are we stopping updates on Odyssey if it's doing this well? There's a sense of probably disappointment on the side of Ubisoft, and I think people that are really engaged with Odyssey that want to see more content, and that's what Infinity will provide. Now, we have some more critics, I guess you would say, responding about this Infinity announcement, but this time out on Reddit. Let's see what you guys had to say about this. Crick in the North says, as someone who just really enjoys single player games, the new era of gaming sucks, laughing my A off. I know it's money, but really, they can't create new IPs to take advantage of live service. Gotta go back, start butchering single player titles because what? They have more name recognition? It doesn't make any sense. Fallen Order was a hit. Sony, for all their faults, still makes single player games that do very well. There's obviously a market for both. Why can't they just leave my Assassin's Creed
and Dragon Age out of it.
It's interesting he mentions Dragon Age though, because officially Dragon Age has dropped the live service multiplayer-centric support that it was once going after, and that's because of Anthem's failure. So Dragon Age is backing off of that, but Ubisoft is like, you know what? We think we got this figured out. We're going to take like a couple years, take 2 of our core teams, instead of rotating Assassin's Creed games year over year, we're going to go all in on this live service experience. All I have to say is I wish Ubisoft the best with this one. You never know how this is going to pan out at all. But, you know, it's interesting. They're willing to gamble 2 of their biggest teams that are, you know, that have brought us, of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla to create Assassin's Creed Infinity, while they are still releasing Assassin's Creed Valhalla content through 2021 and 2022. So that's currently the plan for Assassin's Creed, is to, in the background, while we're getting Assassin's Creed Valhalla content, they're going to be building up Assassin's Creed Infinity. And, you know, a lot of concern is around the fact that they would take an Assassin's Creed game and split it up. Instead of releasing it all at once as a single player game, they would split it up, of course, and then trickle it out as some sort of DLC through this live service. And that is a legit concern. And honestly, what I'm seeing from Ubisoft already is I think that they are also concerned about this, hopefully. And that's why they're putting 2 teams on Assassin's Creed Infinity to hopefully avoid them doing that. Because here is Semi-Freak. He says this out on Reddit. He goes on to say this: what's the difference between live service and what they are doing now with selling the game than selling DLC later on? Math says this: not really sure, but it would mean that the base game is dirt cheap or even free, and progression and most of the interesting stuff would be behind a paywall. It wouldn't have the structure we've known so far, just small chunks of story and new content for years. It would mean that AC would virtually have no actual ending, just endless stream of things happening, which of course is a concern for the story. You know, a lot of people want an actual legit ending to the story, and you know, I think again, a lot of people, or a lot of publishers I should say, are looking to the success of Genshin Impact. I think that game has been widely successful, way more than a lot of people were thinking, and then they're looking to GTA Online, Fortnite, Destiny 2, and they're wanting to make one core experience for Assassin's Creed that they can update for 5 to 10 years, and that's it, on one engine that they can also update over the years and provide new graphical enhancements. So I think that's the overall assessment with Infinity as well. All right. So we have another comment here from Yuna, who says this: it's crazy how they went from revamping Assassin's Creed with the success of Origins only to now create a live service grab your story in chunks game. The start of the end? Maybe, I hope not. The best thing about Assassin's Creed games is jumping into a game that takes you back in time in a huge open world. Now we'll be jumping back in time for a small taste of a timeline in the small open world that's expanded over time with walled off areas until new content arrives. That is the concern, you know. Even if you look at the Helix missions here, and this is laid out, these were like smaller chunks of missions that we took on. And if the game is laid out like that, even if these chunks are bigger, that would still be a bit strange, and it would make the stories shorter and dispersed, and you couldn't really take a lot of time per character. So that is a big worry. I get your worry there, and that's something that I personally would not like. I like the big sprawling stories with one character, but perhaps they have a plan here with Assassin's Creed Infinity that does span multiple settings where you are part of a family lineage, and that's how they would connect the stories. Despite everything being separated by time and setting and things like that, it still would be very much interconnected, which I think would be actually really interesting because you can tie a lot of story together in that way. Personally, that's how I see them possibly doing it. Curious to see also if they tie the story into the Netflix series in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, there are some updates regarding Assassin's Creed Infinity. It's definitely a divisive announcement. You know, the core community are basically in an uproar. The battle lines have been drawn. Let me know what side you are on, if you are for this live service experience, or if you want the more traditional, Assassin's Creed games to return with the stealth mechanics, the story being single player only, not requiring an online connection. Sound off in the comments down below. Sony, they're killing it with single player experiences that do not require online connections. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Assassin's Creed franchise can still provide that in the future. Only time will tell. But thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.